we're in for our first hack webinar and live stream. So firstly, welcome Tom Welton, who's our solution architect for Microsoft. Hello, Tom.
Hey, Leon. Hey, Dean.
Morning, Tom.
And we've also got Dean here, who heads up our customer success. So we want to do something a little bit different, and we're playing with the realms of technology today, aren't we, Tom? So we're testing everything, and it might go wrong, but at least we're in the arena and having a go. But I think first things first, I want to make this webinar and these series of webinars a bit different. A lot of MSPs out there are doing webinars and talking about Copilot, and I've been looking at what a lot of them are doing, Tom, and I don't believe a lot of them are playing with Copilot. I want to be a little bit controversial because you've been helping us on this journey. I believe some elements of Copilot aren't ready, and they're getting better and faster, but that's also the same with Google Gemini, and we're seeing a big war of AI going on. What are you seeing at the minute, Tom? What you want to add around that?
Yeah, I'd agree. There was some news coming out in the last week or two about a new player has entered the game, as we've seen, and I think competition is only good for us. And so seeing these big AI models compete means that we as the individual users will ultimately benefit then when they breed stronger models to outcompete each other, and potentially affecting the economics and the price of these tools going into the future as well. Yeah,
exactly that. So we've got an action-packed agenda today. And I'll quickly go through the agenda first. And so the agenda is going to be Microsoft 365 in Copilot, and looking at it in the life of sales. And the agenda is going to be looking at summarizing emails in Outlook, looking at how we're going to schedule meetings. You're going to go through creating charts, aren't you, with Excel. But my task I've given you is, we'll have a sort of 5 to 10 minute intro, which I'm just going to cover a couple of bases, me and Dean, aren't we? Some bits we want to get across. And then we're going to chuck the baton over to you, Tom, and just get you to play with some of this tech. And when I do that, Tom, just remember, I just noticed, I think you've got to share your screen and bring it in so I can bring it in. So when I start doing my bit, you just need to make sure you share your screen, because I can't see that on the stream. But where I want to sort of link into this and just bring this onto stage is I want to talk about, let me just bring this bigger. I want to talk about, when we consider that children who grew up travelling by horse and cart and burning wood for heat, spent the final days travelling by aeroplane and living in houses warmed by splitting the atom. So I think we're in a really exciting time at the moment. And some bits I want to just sort of cover off from ThinkCloud's perspective and where we're heading is just so everyone understands that we're on a whole new wave with this technology. And I want people to be thinking about jumping the curve. And Dino, we talk about this a lot, don't we, around how technology comes in, we introduce it, then you've got to go on a bit of a journey where you grow the business, the business starts to mature, and sometimes businesses tragically do decline and become irrelevant. What would you say in terms of us, working with businesses, helping them reinvent themselves and tighten that operation?
Yeah, for me, obviously, tech's constantly evolving. The challenge is that the clients need to know where that evolve's coming from. So Copilot is the new big one. I'm getting clients reaching out to me on a daily basis at the moment, asking when's Copilot coming, what features are available, how do we make sure it's secure around our data. And for me, that's the big question, and that's why I'm looking forward to Tom's presentation. So hopefully we can answer a lot of the clients' questions based on that. So yeah, for me, the next curve jump, obviously, it's already here. We know it's not there 100% yet, but we're sort of ready, and I think the clients are ready as well. We just need to make sure that when we're implementing this, it's secure.
No, exactly that. And we're going to cover a bit of that on Tom's agenda as well, and also in our agenda. And other bits where I want to start looking at is we talk about curve jumping. And I pivoted into being our chief AI officer about 2 years, 8 months ago.
A
long time ago. Trying to predict the future. But what I want to sort of rattle through and pick up, and hopefully some knowledge transfer and some learning here for businesses that are joining this webinar is, I've spent the last year on stage just talking everything about AI.
Yeah.
And Tom, and we can get into a debate on this, is I'm a huge believer that I don't believe there's one AI that rules them all. You've got Google Gemini, Copilot's coming out. And what I love about Copilot, what really excites me, is I believe it's going to go down the route of having multi-model approach, and you agree on that, don't you, Tom? Are you seeing that from your side?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's as you said, they're one size fits all AI. I foresee this all kind of evolving into little and bespoke and things individual to us even, so that further down the roadmap, probably not a tomorrow type action, but all of us are going to have these agents that everybody keeps talking about. And it'll be our agent that goes and interacts not just with another agent, but with just the data set itself, and is able to interpret things and generate things and feedback responses to us. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah, I have a colleague actually that's predicting the end of traditional business email. He's going as far to say something like that could be on the horizon, and in the way that we think about the day-to-day workflow. And I honestly can't imagine a workday where I don't have to traditionally go through my inbox, but AI does present some very, very interesting possibilities for that.
No, I agree. And a lot of things that is what I've been talking about, exactly that. And I think what starts exciting me, I was recently on a panel with the Department of Education. I'm working with Hull University, Hull College, and working with all the learning institutes. And I bring this knowledge back into our business, and Paul, Scott and Dean have got to try and implement this for the team, Tom, and help our customers envisage this sort of new future. But I believe the new way of working is we are going to be off email. We're going to be able to actually spend time on meaningful tasks, and I think it's going to be a huge challenge for business to understand it from a change perspective. Yeah. Would you agree, Dean?
Yeah, I think so. It's like Leon said, Leon goes to these events. Leon's really excited about the capabilities of AI. I'm sort of sit in the background, and from a logical perspective, I'm trying to think of it from the client's needs and say, well, wait a minute, how does it interact with on-premise file servers? How does it interact with people who are not using data in SharePoint? So I'm trying to think of the logical questions that the clients are going to ask me. So we're ahead of the curve when this comes.
Yeah, and I think where I'm going to shift this on and just go a few gears is I've got a good friend, Deb Miller, and she's obviously at Hull College, and she said something quite profound the other day in terms of our passion, and we were talking about our own sort of core focus, weren't we, Dean, in terms of we want our customers to succeed from technology. And do you want to explain and elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, I mean, part of my role at Think Cloud is to, one, make sure the clients are happy. That's my first job. I like to, obviously, we need to use technology to make sure, obviously, the clients are happy. I mean, we need to make sure the technology works. And then, obviously, we need to make sure that the technology is secure as well. So wrapping everything around, that's my role in a whole, is to make sure that the clients are happy, they're using technology to succeed, but finally making sure it's secure. So that's why, obviously, Copilot come in, the business premium features. We need the clients to understand the benefits of these tools.
And I think what's exciting at the moment is, I believe together as a team, we can really move mountains and help people succeed with this tech. Because where I want to talk about and linking to change, a lot of people think, we're traditionally Google. We've always been Google and Microsoft, Tom, and we were having some great debates, weren't we, off air on this. But one of the things, I recently resigned from Andy's Man Club because it's achieved everything we originally set out to do. Yeah. And Dean and the team and Think Cloud and the team in the background have been supporting that. And that organisation's gone on to do amazing things, because it's one of the first organisations I've truly understood the power of, tragically 1 man every 2 hours takes their own life. The work that them guys do is saving lives. And they're open over 5,000 men on a Monday night, and they just get tech. Whereas, Dean, do you want to sort of explain in terms of from a change perspective, when we look at this change curve, it's really difficult to get people to change in it and humans to change.
I think that's it. The hardest part in my role, based on experience, has been that transition across, whether it be, for the example you just mentioned, Microsoft or Google, that transition from one or the other. Migrating from Microsoft across to Google Workspace is always a challenge. Now, the biggest challenge is getting the clients to engage, not only in the projects itself, but obviously the training that's involved to make sure that technology succeeds in their business. And without that buy-in from a top level and then down to the staff, it's bound to fail. So,
no, love that. So again, where I'm going to shift gears a little bit more, just to sort of look at this as well. So we've been real fortunate to work with a company called When He Moves, and we've got access to something called the benchmarking index. So one of the actions on the back of this webinar is we've got a wait list for people who are interested in looking at this digital readiness assessment. But I want to shift the gears and just talk to Tom, because Tom don't even know what I'm sharing here, because we've been releasing it today. It's been quite exciting for us. And when we look at that, we've got a benchmarking index, Tom, that's used in over 45 countries. It's been used over 25 years. There's more than 500,000 businesses using it. And I've worked with a university developing an AI readiness assessment, and we've got some great data that aligns it. Now, the challenge I see for SMEs is a lot of it is over complex in terms of some of these theories, and Microsoft don't make it easy. Let's just call it out. Google don't make it easy.
No.
None of the big tech giants make it easy. You've got Google on one hand just releasing Gemini and just switch it on for everybody. That's causing a problem for clients who are on it. And then we've got Microsoft on the other hand who are locking it all down. So there's two different approaches. But as we're looking at it, and this is some of the work we've done with the university, you've got to have AI readiness and digital maturity in it, but you've got to start looking at workforce and skills, your operational processes, and then only once you've started to look at the ethics and risks, then can you start bringing in for AI in sales and marketing, AI-powered products. And we're going to get off the tech in another 2 to 3 minutes, the presentation 2 to 3 minutes, and get into the tech so you can see it. But you have to start thinking about this governance, because it's not just about switching Copilot on, it's looking at it on a broader picture. And again, when we start looking at this, it's making sure you've got a clear digital vision, a digital first mindset, and can you embed that strategy? We talk about Andy's Man Club. There was a dream to move in Margaret. They just did it and they've run with it. Yeah. Other organisations really struggle, and I see the same going to be true. So even if you're not going to move to Google now and you're going to go down the Microsoft route, and we're on Microsoft all in, that change is going to be hard, because it's going to go to web first. And I'm going to challenge Tom on this, and we're going to do a series of webinars on this. Is you need to be using the browser based first. And what complexities are you seeing on that at the moment, Dave?
Yeah, we've got clients using the software version on their local machines. Totally different to the web at the moment. Shared mailbox issues we're having with clients, visual features. It depends whichever platform you're using, you're getting different experiences, and I think that's a lot of the confusion around the clients at the minute.
Correct, but it is all going to go through web. And then other areas you've got to look at your workforce, your skills, your talent. You've got to bridge the gap, and then you can foster innovation and bring enhanced productivity. And on the back of that, we can start looking at operational processes and AI integration. It's not just about Copilot, it's a bigger picture. And in other areas, you'll start looking at AI-powered products. So what's the data analysis? So you've got tailored development, process automation. It's a huge, huge task when you start looking at it. And then at that point, today, we're going to focus in and look at AI in sales and marketing, because all of a sudden you can have an online presence, you can bring social media engagement, personal marketing, like you're seeing with our interactive avatars that we're building. And then this flicks into AI ethics, risk and compliance. And this, I think this was one of the biggest challenges, Tom, that we're facing, to make sure that we are adhering to UK GDPR regulations and cybersecurity and ethical frameworks, because I think it's so confusing and overwhelming for clients on that. And then making sure you've got an AI-ready journey and continuous growth, holistic approach, and you actually do build a proper sustainable advantage, because working in with our clients and looking at the future skills, and I love this report, this sort of demonstrates the top 10 skills really that we should be looking at: analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, agility, motivation, self-awareness, curiosity and lifelong learning, and technology literacy. And when you look at sort of the top sort of 10 skills there, a lot of them are working with us, other skills, but we do have technology literacy, and we talk about our own team being digitally curious, don't we, Dave? In that.
Yeah.
And where we move and we pivot into that is the rate of change. We've never seen it like this before. And, we're in the cognitive age, but we're far exceeding that now, and we're pushing on and on and on. And some of it you're going to see today when we start demoing. It's a great model from Ethan Mullock. He talks about jagged frontier of AI capabilities, and this is changing faster than what Tom can talk about, I can talk about, Dean can talk about, and it's a team sport, because you're going to see some tasks that we're going to demo in a minute that are inside the frontier, but you're also going to see some tasks that are outside the frontier. And we was playing with some technology at the university on the lecture I did yesterday, and I don't know if you guys know this, but if you try and get do a prompt and try and get one of these image generators to create a watch face. Most watch faces come out, I think it's about 11 o'clock, because all of the watch faces on the internet that the AI is used, it's got a bias to it. And that just gives a typical example of trying to get AI to generate a watch face is a real big problem at the minute, because the web's just full of watches that are for sale. So it's just understanding these different tasks and what are inside the frontier and outside the frontier. And Tom's going to talk a lot today about prompting. And when you look at this, Google backed Anthropic, I think this is 2023. They did a job advert, and it was all about prompting is a hybrid between programming, instruction, and teaching. And it was saying back then, if you can demonstrate your prompt engineering skills, spend some time in ChatGPT 3 or Claude, and you can show the complexity of it, you stood a chance in getting the job. And when you look at it, it's all about, you'll figure out the best methods of prompting our AI to accomplish a wide range of tasks, and then document these methods and build up a library of tools and tutorials. Everything you're going to see Tom demonstrate, and me in a minute, and Dean, is all from a prompt. And what we're doing is working really hard to document these prompts, save these prompts, and build them into our processes. Because when you look at the salaries of these prompt engineers, 135 grand, Tom, 265 grand. It's an absolute colossal amount of money what the prompt engineers are generating. But I think businesses, and if we bring that back to the business case again, businesses need to understand that they need to unlock prompting in their own business. It's a bit like, Tom, I'm saying, prompt engineering is the new Excel formula. The wizards who could do the VLOOKUPs. That's where we're going. I can see you nodding there, Tom. Do you want to add to
that? Yeah, absolutely. And the science of prompting, the art of prompting, this is a whole new skill set, new to everybody that's using AI. But one thing that I would maybe caution is putting a specific finish, a finish line for us to become AI literate is a term I hear a lot. What that means is you can treat prompting like learning a foreign language. So I'm taking a little bit of Spanish on the side, but what does that mean when I say I can speak Spanish? Can I get to Barcelona, get to my hotel and check in? Can I go out to a restaurant and order a full meal? Or can I give this presentation in Spanish? There's various levels of that. And in the same way, our prompting kind of muscles that we're going to develop over time will reflect that. So treat this like a journey rather than a destination in learning. And very much with any learning curve, there's going to be a little bit of failure along the way, and try and reiterate to go forward. So
yeah, exactly that. And what I'm going to share and start wrapping up my sections in a minute is, this started 2 years ago when we started prompting, and my daughter sent me a challenge to create a Disney version of me that had more hair and was more enjoyable, and that's what we did. And we went on. Everything starts from a prompt. You can go on our website. There's an AI version of me. There's going to be an AI version of Dean, because Dean's heading up customer success, and we've made mistakes. We tried to grow with salespeople. It wasn't aligned with our business model. But what AI is allowing us to do is, Dean sits in that box in terms of making sure we've got a client and product fit. And do you want to explain more around that, Dean?
Yeah, that's exactly it. My role is to make sure that what we're providing for the client is the correct fit. No oversale, no undersale. It's got to be the right product for that particular client based on their needs. So for me, it takes time. It takes time to do that for the individual clients, making sure that what we're trying to do at the same time is standardize the tool stack. So we've got to make sure that what we're implementing, it might be a different piece of technology for one client. However, it's got to be just as secure as the other. So,
and the framework we use, Tom, is this 5 drivers model, and we map out our clients. And anyone's watching this webinar, just so they understand, once we start mapping the tech out on this, we want to understand how it all links together and the framework around it, because ultimately we've got to really understand where our data is. We've got to secure it, and only once we can secure that data can we make it accessible. Then we can make it intelligent, and we actually stand a chance of driving true change. So where I want to link in next, Tom, is I just wanted to show me using Copilot for a day. So I'm going to just jump this video on here, and I'm going to add it to the stage. And everything I'm going to showcase in a second, and I'll just pause it. So everything I'm going to showcase now is me using Copilot for the day, and this is all through the web browser experience. So it's all for the new version. There's complexities because in terms of turning this on. But what we're recommending senior leadership teams do is put a steering group together and start working on this, because ultimately this AI has got access to all of my data on it, Tom, and it is risky in terms of what we're doing. But again, if we just press play on this, and I'll just show you, a day in the life of me. I'm working on some projects with marketing, so I'm just asking to, I'm out delivering all these sessions, and I just ask it, can you catch me up on everything I'm working on? So it then gathers the resources, it's looking for information and chats, and all of a sudden it pulls through some really interesting work that I'm working on. So at the minute, we're working on a new content plan for the year. You can see we're looking at a new focus around Microsoft 365 tips and tricks, and we're doing an audit. It then picks up that I'm also working on some training, which Dean's working on with me as well, around C-suite for building a secure culture, GDPR. We've got some courses that we're building around the European Union Artificial Intelligence Act. We're preparing for this webinar. Again, all different marketing assets. And I can go through and click on all of these and go through to the documents. Then, as I'm in there, there's a few key bits that I notice as I'm getting up to speed. And I ask it to catch me up on the Responsible AI for Business e-learning product that we're building. And that's a massive project in it between you, me, Scott, Rich, who's our CIS, we're working with Tom. It's really complex as putting that course together, but we're also using AI avatars of me and you to deliver the content, so very complex. But I need to get caught up on what's going on with it. So then it gives me a quick summary of where we've got to it, the different modules, where we're at. And it mentions it's been updated, it's been modified. And then as we're still working through that, I notice, a few bits I want to summarise and just delve a little deeper because I'm preparing for this a meeting on this. It gives me a bit of more understanding of where we've got to on the modules. I'll keep playing this through. And then, as we can see, it's giving more insight on that. And then I think there's another prompt on here. Where is it? I'm just going to move this on a bit forward. So I asked to be caught up on the content plan, for the year. So it catches up on our content plan that we're working on within marketing. And then I found this amazing, Tom. This absolutely blew my mind. What does my week look like? Dean, if anyone's ever looked at my calendar, this is
I'm surprised AI can actually understand your calendar.
Well, it does. It gets me. It actually gets me. But what I found amazing on this is that we're up in Edinburgh next week. Me and Scott, it was able to pull through all the stuff we're doing, where we're going, everything. But then also, I asked it to find details on my hotel. It then went and pulled through and found details on my hotel. It told me my check-in times, facilities. It even pulled the booking references through, which I've hidden on this. It got me my train tickets. It even told me what seat we're in. Wow. It told me the times of the bar. And then I can't ever find any time on my calendar. Can you, do?
Not on your calendar, I can't.
No, never. Neither can I.
Oh, man.
So I then asked it to find me nearby attractions. Edinburgh Castle come up.
Yeah.
Thought that's quite cool. I then said, what are the open hours of Edinburgh Castle? I thought, could be quite cool. I might go for a little date with Scott.
You're going to tell me this is why I saw Edinburgh Castle in your calendar.
Correct. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I wondered why you was going.
Yeah, so I was doing this live at the uni.
Right, I see. Yeah.
So then it went through what are the ticket prices, because Scott wants a budget and a purchase order first, doesn't he? Yeah. So I've got to go get a purchase order for the tickets. I then asked it to look at my calendar next week, because the one you saw that I was there yesterday, didn't you?
Yes.
I'd done the prompt wrong thing.
Yeah.
Got the prompt wrong, Dean. It booked the date on the wrong day. But then I went back and where do I need to visit? And I'm obviously typing with one finger there because I am talking into it. It says I need 3 hours because that's what the researcher told me. It said based on my calendar, 1 to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, which actually was right. I then ask it to book me a meeting. It goes away and books me a meeting, gathers the resources. There we go. it got it a little bit wrong because it only booked me there for an hour. But
and did you get a prompt to say that that's gone into your calendar
correct.
so you knew?
Yeah. Other areas, something we're talking about, and I'll skim over this quickly, but one of the conversations you've got to have, Dean, is around the CIS controls. It's complicated. Yeah. Clients aren't going to get it. And it's how can we simplify it? So I took that massive spreadsheet that Rich has been working on.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. And I said, help me understand this CIS assessment that we're working on. How do we let clients understand it?
Yeah.
So as we did that, can you help me understand this document and how we're going to apply it for small businesses? He then jumps through it, explains the different overview, the different steps, and me and you have now got a nice simplified bullet point, and we can then educate our clients based on this and why we're going to go that way, and we can leave Rich locked in a cupboard, can't we? Is that the plan? Yeah. And then as we're doing that, I then start asking it other questions about this in terms of different documents, different guides, CIS controls. This is a document Tom had shared with me. Can you educate me on this? And again, I'm tagging these documents in. It's educating me on the controls, the overviews, and how it's going to start looking to align it with Microsoft best practice. So again, I'm using this on the fly to educate. And then let's have a look. Is there anything else I've put on there? I'll just rattle through this quickly. So I want to get Tom on. So again, I look at our marketing. We've got a new one-page marketing plan. I ask it some questions around our marketing plan, the approved one. It then starts looking at, ask it to summarise it for me and what's the key information. And I think it'll pull through now. So look. So it pulls through what's our target market and what we're doing. So Tom, did I do a good job there of playing with it there?
That was perfect. I love seeing all that. And I'll remind everybody watching, we're still in your inbox. You haven't left your email. You started out asking a question about a meeting and you're getting educational insights about CIS controls. And I think that's a huge benefit to these AI is that you don't have to window hop or have switching costs or digital debt or whatever you'd like to call that. But that's where a vast majority of our kind of missing time throughout the week is kind of this admin switching between things. Whereas you very, quickly are able to look up meeting details, confirm flight and train information down to the actual seat on the train. That was really great granularity on that. And realistically as well, you're just showing the tip of the iceberg is what I'll confirm to everybody watching. There's so many actions that you can take in there, and notably it's working with your colleagues. And so if it's, I've got a couple things in my demo that I'll showcase, but Leon, if I was in your org, I could say, catch me up on the last 6 months of emails, teams, and meetings with Leon and Dean, and help me prepare for the next meeting that we've got tomorrow or something like that.
And Tom, the biggest challenge we had was putting that demo together just to showcase, because the amount of data and detail it went into was real difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of bits. I'm going to hand over to you in the next sort of 2 to 3 minutes, but your screen, you just need to share your screen again and bring it on because it's not on there at the minute on the bottom. And while we're doing that, and you're just getting that sorted, I'm just going to play and just explain. So what we're going to add onto stage now. Where is it? So I want to talk about, we've got a new digital readiness assessment. We now made it all available online. This is going live today, and there's a wait list on it. We've had it in beta with some of our clients. I know I've got clients watching right now, and I think one of the big things around this is, it is around AI readiness and digital readiness, but it's also around reinventing your business model and looking at things differently. And one of the quotes I got, from a real good client and friend of mine is just mentioning in terms of, and David won't mind me sharing, he mentioned that, going through this journey has really helped him unlock the unique value that they actually bring. And they create products customers love, and they're able to also create them products that the planet deserves, and they're doing some really cool stuff. And that came from us using this benchmarking index where we can do an assessment on a company, look at your competition. We can put some key metrics in there, about the size of them, and we can take them on a journey. And this is something that we're going live with today. I'm super excited about this, Tom, because this used to be a manual process, didn't it, Dean? It used to take us about a week to put these together, a lot of consultancy, in person. But we've done with the university and with Winning Moves, we've about 500 reports and assessments we've done now, and we've now got this new platform available, and it's all about aligning your Microsoft 365 environment against best practice, and also looking at your maturity. But ultimately, we need to understand a company's sort of long-term vision, the business goals, the pains, the role of tech, and us automating this process. This really allows Dean, to focus on serving our customers, but using technology like this to walk our customers through that. And we're bringing AI into it so you can question it. There'll be digital versions of Dean to answer information on this document. And all of a sudden, once we start looking at benchmarking and performance, we can look at where that organisation answers them questions based against the competition. We can benchmark the performance, from a financial position. And I think on this demo, what did I put on here? Let's have a look. I think we went and looked at ice cream factory, manufacturing ice cream. Mm-hmm. And we've got some amazing data, from that to benchmark productivity and growth. And again, there'll be a call to action on this where you can sign up for that and register as on the wait list. And we've set Dean a bit of a challenge to try and get, between 4 and 8 of these done a month. It's going to be one of our goals on a first come, first serve. But all existing clients have access to this platform as of today, don't we now? Yeah. And we're going to be rolling that out further forward. And again, if you want to register interest in that, all you need to do is jump onto our website, go down to the Cloud Academy, click on there, and you'll see there's a AI readiness and diagnostic, and I'll bring it up onto the slides in a moment, where you can get access to that fully in a QR code. Just bear me a second. And I'll bring this back at the end. Where is it? Let's bring this onto the stage now. So you can scan that QR code. You can register interest. You can download the 5 drivers on there, and then we're going to be trying to get out between 4 and 8. And then done a month that way is one of the challenges on a first come, first serve. And then Tom, I'm going to just sling it straight over to you because I think everyone's bored of us too, mainly me. And
well, perfect. And potentially, actually, if I could ask you to just pull back up the curve slide there. You had the jumping the curve slides. I had one point on there that I'd like to iterate as well, because that's a brilliant slide. And just we go through this with every new technology that comes out. So this isn't just exclusive to AI. We're all looking at the tops of the curve. There are unfortunately the dips in the curve, and I hear terms like valley of despair and trough of disillusionment have been used. Sometimes we overinflate our expectations. That was a brilliant, the jagged frontier. And if we ask the AI to do something that it simply isn't ready to do, and that task doesn't complete, then we get a negative impression of it, and we kind of go into this valley of despair or kind of disillusionment with the tech. Just know that exactly as your graphic indicates there, we kind of jump on the new curve as expectations kind of get resettled. We understand what it is, what it isn't. Ultimately, a great example would be self-driving cars. I know today we don't think twice about it. There are a lot of self-driving cars. I think there's one even in San Francisco that just hit like a couple million out there going around. And so that's a technology that wasn't proven and wasn't tested. A lot of people weren't really sure on it. And I think overwhelmingly, we're going to start seeing self-driving lorries and larger vehicles on our roads soon enough. And again, we're going to get through these same kind of jumping of the curves, but it's not going to be without maybe a little bit of downhill before some of that uphill with AI tech.
No, exactly that. Love that, Tom. So where do you want me to go now? Do you want me to go back to your slides? Where are we going to go?
Perfect. Yeah, if we go to the slides, we can just kind of talk kind of a rough overview of the kind of content that I'll switch between the slides we're looking at, and then ultimately just show you the technology live. And to put just a slight disclaimer on it, the reason that Leon had that video and some of my demo things will be maybe a little shielded is that protection against inadvertently releasing sensitive information. In a very good way, Copilot and all AI models that you integrate your data with, they're very good at finding the data. Right now, some of you have probably changed positions in your company over time. You used to work in a different department and now you work in your current role. Was your access to your previous old department ever taken away? That's a very common question. I've worn a couple hats in my organization. But all of a sudden, then if I get a Copilot, I'm not going to go out of my way on SharePoint to look up a document for my old department. However, my Copilot does have access to it, and it is going to use its full capabilities to pull information like that. Those are some of the things to consider as business leaders and decision makers for your organization, and very much driving home and can do nothing but reinforce that AI readiness is a journey that again will happen in stages over time. Making sure we're not just deploying the AI because it's a cool thing and all the businesses are doing it, but because my environment is now ready to support AI, not just for myself, but all the employees at my organization. And so, couldn't agree with that more, Leon. That was great. And I'll just progress the slides here. So here, we're going to go through kind of a rough demo here and maybe focus and target some of the conversation and examples a little bit more towards the commercial and the sales side. But ultimately taking a look at Microsoft 365 Copilot, and wanted to keep the slide deck fairly short, and so I don't have kind of a comprehensive overview, but in kind of a 30-second recap, if you are maybe new to Copilot and this is your first conversation about it, Copilot is just Microsoft's answer to the generative AI. They've partnered with a company known as OpenAI, which is the parent company of ChatGPT. Microsoft now owns a significant portion of that. So Copilot itself is a GPT engine under the hood. Specifically, it is the 4.0 model at the moment. If you pay for GPT and maybe you do some of those advanced features, there's preview modes to some of their maybe beta test type AIs out there. Once those get released in a general availability, Microsoft's Copilot, aka GPT, will update to that most available general availability engine. And that typically takes about 2 or 3 days, but just to put some context there into what that is. But there are some striking security and privacy differences between Copilot as well. I'll show you on the call here where you can access more information. But absolutely, I love that we're talking about CIS controls and GDPR. I've done a lot of work here in the UK with cyber essentials and things like that. So ensuring that our environments are ready for that is definitely something to keep in top of mind with deploying this tech. So let's maybe take a theoretical look in the day in the life kind of situation here. And again, if you're not in a sales unit specifically, you can very much apply a lot of the themes and types of actions here. Maybe just layer on what you do in a role functionality. But we can see here we've got Cassandra as a sales lead at Contoso. It's one of Microsoft's very popular demo companies, if that sounds familiar. And we can see there that the graphics may be a little bit architected oddly there, where it's going to go, 8 a.m. at the top and go left to right over into Outlook, into Excel. And then it actually goes down to PowerPoint and then goes right to left there on the bottom there, just to kind of keep track of Cassandra throughout her day. I'll use a couple of examples that do include her, and then maybe a couple of my colleagues that I've worked with. But ideally, this is what it's used for. Not that once a month thing that happens. Every month there's some 3-hour project that you have to do of either consolidation, reporting, auditing, record keeping, some kind of action, and maybe you're looking at AI to solve that issue. Start with the basics. Start in the shallow end. Start with the day-to-day admin tasks. And again, this concept that Microsoft came up with called digital debt. It's the switching costs. It's that first 80% of the really tedious, sometimes very boring work to get something set up or generated. Whereas ultimately what I'd like to do and what I enjoy doing is putting the finishing touches on it, putting my branding and my quality on it to really make it, specific to me. That's where we can find the balance with the AI. And so to jump in a little bit, and again, there's a million resources out there. All you have to do is, head on to YouTube or a search engine, and you can find plenty of, free and available training. LinkedIn Learning is a great resource, and so is Viva Learning is one of Microsoft's free apps you can download. But here's a fantastic framework that we've come out and really kind of start everybody new to AI. If you're not sure where to get started, try to remember this acronym here of GCSE. Very astutely named, great acronym, easy enough to remember. But if you're kind of stuck and you're trying to perform an action or experiment with the technology, you can see on screen here that, you just need to talk to it. Good data in is going to provide good data out as far as the response and prompting. We can see there we've got our goal is a couple of bullet points. Why do I need them? Because I'm preparing for a meeting with my client. Cool. Where do you want to get the information from? Oh, my Outlook and my Teams, or a specific SharePoint site, or the entire web. Just go find an answer, or specifically www.thiscompany.com and pull information from there. And then ultimately the expectations. I'm presenting to a technical audience. I'm presenting to the board. I'm presenting to investors or to customers, or customer service or whatever that might be. And keeping this framework in mind, I think is a good starting point. It certainly isn't the final end all, kind of prompting completeness, but this should give you a really good way of doing it. And you'll see me kind of iterate on a couple of these prompts as we get going through here today. Perfect. So I think, yeah, we'll get started with our first example here and just talk about kind of opening up a workday. And so all of us probably have the opportunity to come back to a, not so great inbox after the holidays. That's why I'm laughing a little bit. You take a couple of weeks off for the holidays. Worst part about that is that first Monday morning back and coming into your emails and trying to figure out what's been going on while you've been gone. I think by far and away, something that would mass apply to everybody on this call and is the communication aspects of Copilot. So very specifically inside of your emails, your meetings, and your teams. We saw Leon's video there. That was absolutely great to be able to pull all that information right from his Outlook window. That's, I absolutely love that. And that's a newer feature that Microsoft's been able to put into place as they continually, almost on the weekly basis, we see something new and great come into Copilot. But here, is an example of a couple of different prompts that you can choose. And these are, everything I've written here are real world things that I've performed internally at my organization. And so that top one, summarize the past 6 months of communications. So I've given it exactly what I want. Communications can apply. I could specify that of just Teams or emails if I need to. And I'm doing that maybe for external because I'm working from Daisy from the Bristol Aquarium. And then as well, I'd like to hop on and have action items and open tasks. And Copilot is incredibly good at having these open-ended tasks if you put them into there. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well as we talk about meetings and recordings and very much where this can all help us out. I think I'll share my screen out here, or actually I've got, just one more Outlook slide here, and then we'll hop over and just demo a little bit here. So kind of in the meeting aspect, and Leon really showed this great with this video that we saw, is that kind of confirm the meeting as well too. If it's a really important meeting, it's something where we've got a lot of kind of high value attendees on this. Having it just create a simple confirmation email, it doesn't take a lot to type up, but getting yourself in the habit of doing that, it really does pull really good information. Can use professional and polite language to just, hey, reminder, I know you're busy, but tomorrow 10 a.m. this is very important. Please confirm that you're going to be able to attend. And then as well, it's very nice to catch up on previous meetings that I've had, and this can apply both internally and externally, and very much specific to your job role. But you can see that lower one, summarize the meeting I had with Daisy last December, and ultimately what that's going to look like over there. And so perfect. And Leon got my screen there. Great. So one way to follow that is, we saw kind of what that's going to look like in the outbox and the summary, and again, kind of between the videos and protecting our own information. I'll start with kind of a new basic email. And so here's what, just clicking into a new email goes. You'll have a nice Copilot button that'll live inside of the application. And so you're going to see that throughout today's demo, but I've got a couple of different options that I can do that. So I could draft an email right here, and you can see I've already got some help. And so you don't have to do this entirely by yourself. Microsoft is going to try to hold your hand with inspiration and kind of, oh, maybe you should try this prompt, or is this the information you're looking for? And it's done nothing but get better and better as we use this on a daily and a weekly basis. But we'll maybe write a short, friendly message, outlining key points. So I'll just give it a quick prompt, and we can just have this write this right up. And again, we can all type in emails, and that's fine. And it probably would have taken me in the real world to just type out a full email as long as it's going to generate this. And we'll hopefully get this written up there. Yeah, perfect. Always, nothing's ever gone wrong during a live demo. But we can see here that it's written a nice email for it. and then given me some additional options. And so this is that iterative process and kind of those, curves that we talk about. It's not going to come in, get 100% of the job done, and then it's on to the next task. Humans are very much required to be a part of this equation for the foreseeable future. So we've got a quick meeting there. Okay, that's great. Let's change this and maybe let's make this maybe a little bit more formal. And so we can put different filters: longer, shorter, casual. There is that, I don't know if you saw it, the make it a poem option. Very good to shout out your colleagues with success stories, or call them out for doing something great and write them a nice poem about that. One feature that Microsoft has confirmed to me that will be coming out in the first half of this year is going to be a big game changer, I think, and it's something called Make It Sound Like Me. And so in the same way that we look at this and say, I would never write an email like that, the tone is all rough. I start, I've never said dear Leon, I say hi Leon, and I sign off with just regards and not best regards. In the same way, your cell phones can all do predictive texting, and whatever app you're in can kind of auto-complete the next sentence or word you're likely to type. Copilot has access to your sent messages and your sent emails. And so it's going to be able to architect kind of a digital signature type of style for you and be able to apply that then to this generated content in the very near future. Going to make these sound a lot more human and not as robotic. But looks like we've got an okay message there. And I'll apologize in advance, Leon, here. Or actually, I'll use Daisy here just to pick on her as one of my colleagues. But I'll maybe handwrite an email here just to show another feature. So I'm emailing Daisy, and you can see there that I'm using a little bit more of an aggressive and impersonal and non-professional tone. That can have a huge impact. We all know that we can't convey emotions through text, but this coaching option, I think, is maybe more thoughtful. I didn't initially think that this was going to be a feature I used very much. I thought it was kind of just extra window dressing to some other features, but realistically, it's going to look at this and analyze a lot of my sentiments and my tone and the clarity of what I've written, provide suggestions on feedback to improve the email. And then, as you'll see here shortly, I'll be able to apply those suggestions to update the content. And so this is great. So if you just want to throw your unfiltered thoughts into an email and then clean it up very quick so you have that professional communication can be done, as well as maybe anybody that's working in a customer service type role, or again, if you are in sales, that every now and then you get a client that maybe isn't as happy and we need to take action with them. So we can see here that, it'd be nice to, use a respectful tone and at least include a greeting, kind of be understanding, encourage positive collaboration. Your work is crucial. And so this is really great language, I think, that makes us much better at communicating. And instead of going back and rewriting that myself, now I've just got an easy button. Now I can just apply those suggestions. And it's going to turn this into a great email here that Daisy will be happy to receive and realize, oh, hey, those TPS reports were due yesterday. I need to get on that to not let the team down. So we'll let that apply those suggestions here. It's typically with the speed as well, and again with the live demo, anything can happen, but it's maybe a few seconds faster at generating than what we're seeing here, just to give you context as I use this on a daily basis. Perfect. So yeah, look at that. There's a much better email, and then I can specify the project or task in there and replace that into my email fully. So great. And then the other instance in Outlook I did want to talk about, and just while I've got the screen share here, be able to show it, is that meetings are a huge issue. So right now you guys are attending essentially an external meeting because you're dialed into this, and so your colleagues might be hitting you up on Teams or Slack or email or texting you on your phone, and they're trying to communicate with you. We always get maybe double booked in there. And so there is a great option. And I think, this has been a complete game changer to come in here for my schedule in particular, is the addition of what's known as the follow button or the follow feature. And so this is just an Outlook calendar invite, so just a little internal sync. You can see there, you get the accept or decline. Don't worry, you still have access to that maybe or tentative option if you still like it. It's just kind of tucked away. because follow is definitely the preferred option. And so if I'm double booked right now and I have an internal meeting that I can't attend, maybe it's just a weekly catch up sync or something, and I need to attend a more critical meeting, I can follow, and you can see here, it'll let the organization leader or whoever put the meeting together know, so that, privacy is respected. In the same way, when you hit that recording button at the top of Teams and it puts a little notification, hey, by the way, just to note, you are being recorded. By staying in the meeting, you accept that. Follow has the same features for me to be able to send my Copilot on behalf, but the advantage of that is that, after this webinar, I don't have to go watch an hour-long recording or try to, skip through the parts to find what I like. I can read a 5 or 10-minute summary with action items listed to specific people. So Tom gets this report done by this afternoon. Daisy will have the TPS reports done by tomorrow. And we also need to plan the company kickoff in the next 2 weeks or something. And it'll have those action items listed out separately. So a lot of really great features. And yeah, Leon and Dean, I know you guys have probably taken advantage of this as well in that follow feature. But as far as hugely impacting my day-to-day, this one was a no-brainer to be in the top probably 5 features of Copilot that's affected me positively here.
I think it's just mind blowing. We were just talking off air. I mean, can you hear us there, Tom? Because it was muted. Can you hear us?
Yep. Oh yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Yeah, we were just talking. We were having a conversation with her, but I realised that we not unmuted ourselves. Yeah. I think there's some great points that have come up. I'm just looking at some comments in the chat, and I'll just bring a couple on. For example, let's have a look. We're hearing this one all the time. Why isn't Copilot icon there when I open my email? And as Scott has just mentioned, it is a separate license. It's a separate subscription. But it's not as simple as just turning it on. It comes back to an assessment, looking at it, because it's my favourite Spider-Man quote. With great power comes greater responsibility, don't they? Because it accesses everything. But what other areas are you going to jump into now? Are you going to go into Excel, or where are you going next?
Yeah, if we could pull up the slide deck. I've just got one slide in Excel, and we can jump into some spreadsheets, which I know is everybody's favorite favorite day to day.
And also, just making everyone aware, so we did originally plan for 45 minutes on this, but we're going to just keep walking anyway until we go. But anyone who needs to get off and go back to the lunch, I've put the links into the chat. It's live on YouTube, it's live on LinkedIn, it's on Facebook, it's everywhere. So you can go click on the link and you can catch up at your own convenience. Because we're just going to keep rocking out with Tom. So I will jump back off this, take me off stage, and then it's back over to you, Tom.
Perfect. Yeah, I apologize for taking over. You can tell that I'm very excited about this, and probably good that we have a time limit here, as I can keep talking all day about this, as well as we can provide individual conversations if you'd like us to speak one-on-one with you, or speak kind of to your larger organization specifically. We're happy to hop on a call and discuss kind of individual use cases. But Excel is another big one here, and again, you can find plenty of demos out there, but just going through the numbers, getting a spreadsheet, this is something that intimidates a lot of people that don't use Excel on a daily basis, and they don't, we don't see a middle ground of users. You either are very limited in Excel and you just open the spreadsheet to get information and then close it as soon as possible, or you're an Excel wizard and you're doing some of the advanced scripting. Copilot in a very good way offers help in both of those aspects, really for the range of experience in the users. And Leon, if we could flip back over to the screen share, then we can take a look at a couple of examples here of what Copilot's going to look like in Excel, including some of the newer advanced features, which I've done kind of a lot of playing around with today as I've been working through that. Great. So we can see I've got a basic spreadsheet. I actually generated this data with Copilot, if you're curious about where this is. And so what we've got here is a simple table. There might be a little bit of data preparation or cleanup in place, but there's my Copilot button up at the top. And on kind of the more simplistic actions, kind of the entry level areas of Excel, I can achieve a couple of different prompts. And yeah, of course, looks like it's having issues as soon as I open it up there. So let's try that once more here with feeling.
I'll help you out there, Tom. We all have challenges, don't we?
Yep.
Is it working again?
Great. Looks like it's coming through. Yeah. Oh, It is really, let me just try a different spreadsheet. This is why I've got a couple of backup spreadsheets. I wonder if, yeah.
Can you fix it for him, please, Dean?
We wouldn't have a job if everything worked, would we?
No. This is the challenge using new technology in it.
Okay, so yeah, that seems to be working all right. So, one good tip is to convert it into a table.
We'll leave it out, Tom.
Perfect. Yep, no worries. Yeah, now that we've got that into a table, Copilot seems to play a little bit more nicely with it if it's in the table format, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. But here you can see is inspiration that I was talking about. So maybe give me a suggestion for a column. I'm looking at data, and again, I've been stress testing this actually with larger data sets. So I did one the other day that had 78 columns and over 10,000 rows, and so it does perform at scale. If we're getting into 6 digits and 100,000s of rows, which some of you might be thinking of or working with, potentially, have a sidebar conversation with us as there's maybe some kind of chunking and tokenization that we can talk about. But here you can see what it's done. It's understood in plain language what I'd like to suggest. Looks like year of release is a new one. There's the formula, so I can share that with my colleagues or another spreadsheet, just put that right on my clipboard. There's a little bit of a preview, and I can even hover over that to insert it. And, I know ultimately this isn't a complex data sheet there, just, but, that can produce very useful additional graphics very quickly, as well as looking at a little bit of visualization. So showing the data insights here. And then I'll jump over to just a little bit of, a little bit of Python here. And then, Leon, trying to be conscious of time there. It goes by so fast when talking about all this stuff, but, here it's kind of a great insight. Yeah.
Just to jump in, there's no rush from your side. I'll just let everyone else know that we're streaming live. They can catch up. I always knew it'd go over, Tom, because in some heat there, aren't you? So you just chill. You just keep going. I've already shared in the link to the YouTube video. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're across all socials. So people can just bow out now, pause, and jump back in. But you just keep rocking. It's all good.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you. And appreciate everybody that is hanging on there. So we can see here it's been able to add that visual. And this isn't astonishing, but looking at what has happened, though, it's taken my data, it's produced a visual, it's put it on a new sheet so it didn't affect my original data. There's the graphic, and I can edit that if I need to. And then it's got the actual pivot table, so kind of prove it. Where did the source data come from? And or if I'd like to modify that because it's not quite perfect and there's 1 or 2 things to change, I can certainly do that. Again, the AI is consistently powerful. So you can see it's giving me even deeper options here. So I'll touch on the Python there, but this button right here, I think is one of my, again, kind of going into the top 5 there, add all insights to grid. And so I literally just one-click the button without any preparation. It looked at my entire table and produced multiple visuals here. And while that first one wasn't as relevant, all of a sudden I've got really good data, and I can tell that Apple products are kind of clocking in on the more expensive route. And unfortunately, my home country there is having some noticeably higher prices of electronics and such that are coming through there. And so, you can see that again with all of that source information put at the bottom. And then as well, we can certainly kind of go into the kind of midst of this. And so Python, Visual Basic, this is almost a scripting language, and this is very intimidating to people if they even realize you can do these things in Excel. But here I don't have to be a coding person to launch this. I can say start the advanced analysis. You can see here it's opened up an analysis tab. It's going to populate it. It's converted the cell to Python, so instead of a formula, I've got my Python up here at the top. Okay, where do I go from here? Take some suggestions. And so now we can see, analyze the price distribution by brand, or perform the trend analysis of device releases over the year. Okay, that sounds interesting. And so we can interrogate the data and do some really interesting things here that border on almost data science. And from a financial perspective, we can do things like forecasting. We can look at, what we currently are at throughout the year or to target, and then make predictions about the next couple of months or years if we have that data correctly. And again, you can achieve these actions today without a Copilot. You're just going to spend a lot of time on Google and YouTube learning to do formulas. That's how I would approach that. So for me to be able to just stay in Excel and then all of a sudden have a trend analysis of device releases, or maybe number of devices. You can see here, these are very complex things that are going on, but I don't have to learn that kind of the core architecture of Python. I can just get the information that I'm looking for. And yeah, again, I apologize. It's kind of a simplistic data set here, but what we can see is it is, putting in kind of very specific technical details as to what's going on here. But and to, not egregiously violate over the time here, I'll continue to progress. But yeah, Leon, if we could hop back into the slideshow, I think I've got just a couple more in there. I think we've got PowerPoint is up next.
Yeah, you're back in, and I just want to mention that we're getting loads of good comments, Tom, and I think I'll just bring a comment on screen. As Steve went over on LinkedIn, he's just saying, thank you guys for the live stream. This is a great topic. Everyone needs to get on board with this. To wait till the system is perfect, you'll have missed the boat, in my opinion. So, thanks for sharing that, Steve. I think, Tom, you're doing a cracking job, and I think when I just watched you, rock XL there, it's just mind blowing where this technology is going. And I'm just super excited, for our clients, to be getting on board with this. It is mind blowing.
Yeah.
So I'll bow out again, and I'll leave you back to it.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm consistently overwhelmed in a good way, and yeah, absolutely, Steve. Thank you for posting that. If you you're never ready, you're ready enough, to quote a film I like. But yeah, we're ready enough. And again, and that AI readiness. If you're not sure about the ready, go in and have a conversation about the data and the environment. But progressing here just to kind of showcase again kind of a whistle stop tour around the apps. We've got PowerPoint, and a lot of you may or may not work on this on a daily basis, or you may be curating content for social media. Some of you are watching us on LinkedIn right now, which is fantastic, and you can see there's a trend in LinkedIn posts, and you may have even used that LinkedIn AI yourself, which secret, but LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft. They're a Microsoft company, so of course they're going to employ the AI. Putting together good presentations and things like that can certainly happen. And so what we can do through PowerPoint right now is create presentations from scratch. We can throw in a prompt, or we can use a source document. And so I can kind of two-step and show what that source document would look like. You can also interrogate and look at existing documentation. And so if somebody sends you 100 slides and you just want to find the relevant ones or the key themes, or you can ask it a specific question and go into that specifically for slides. But I think all of us as users are maybe thinking, okay, PowerPoint, that's really only going to live with our marketing and our creative and our social media teams. All of us attend weekly meetings or have monthly updates or one-on-one catch-ups with our boss or with our team and our employees. But sometimes it's just a face-to-face conversation, or we're showing a very boring, dry report. PowerPoint can certainly add that, and you'll see how easy it is to take Copilot into PowerPoint to make that change happen. And so, great. Yeah, Leon, if we could flip back over to the screen share, and thank you for driving that on the back end, by the way.
You should be there now. I've just moved that back across for you.
Perfect.
And just while you're doing that as well, we're getting some great comments. Lauren Ward just mentioned around costs on this. We're going to be picking all that up, and we will be sending an email out to all of our clients around how you can book in with Dean, and he can take you through that journey. Also, on some of the more complex cases, might need Tom in there as well. But we will be reaching out, Lauren, on that. And there is training available over on our Cloud Academy, and I'll pick that up. If you just stay to the end, I'll show you how we can access some of that training, what's available now. So, Tom, I'll just bow back out again and leave you to it.
Perfect. Yeah, and talking about PowerPoint, I hopped into Word just to show you, because I'd like to generate a document and then generate a PowerPoint based off the document. So, showing you what this looks like in Word, I can attach a file as a reference here. And so currently I can attach up to 3 different files. And PDFs are very much included. And so they have added PDFs into this option. What we've seen that is take this document A and rewrite it to include this information. Take my company's IT policy and add a section about AI policy into it, is a very familiar conversation I've had. Or here's document A and document B, create a new document that combines them both or runs an analysis on the differences between them. So a lot of really great ways to work through here. But I've got a basic prompt of generate a full presentation on 365 adoption, include key tasks, pilot users, preparation for success. And we'll maybe just add additional content there just to kind of fill it out. But you can see that it's very logical in the way that it's going to go about constructing the stories, whether this is generated from scratch in PowerPoint or done here on Word. It'll be logical in the same way that in school we were all taught introduction, main body, and conclusion or closing. Those features very much exist, and again, it's not going to do 100% of my job for me, but it's gotten 80% of it done. So now we can come in and make the finishing touches. And so I'll keep what I have, and you can see here it's generated about 2.5 pages. It's got some good stuff about the adoption of 365. We see things like assess current infrastructure, data preparation that all goes back to the AI readiness. Potentially moving forward with this technology, and what does that look like? Do we roll this out to everybody at the company, or do I maybe want to select a couple of champions or pilot users in various roles just to see where I can have the most performance with it? Preparing for success, making sure we have a plan. And I will kind of call this out as well too, as an American on this call here, living in the UK. I do reside in Bristol. The S's and Z's and everything like that, this is a configuration option on your terminal, and so it won't necessarily give you this in US English. It can very certainly output and input in UK English to take care of the correct spelling and the communications there. Is a question that's come up a time or two. Leon, I don't know if you've run into that with the US spelling stuff before. So.
I'm ridiculous. I can't spell, but we call it the King's English now, don't we? Or the Queen's English, the proper way. Just you Americans just love to confuse us, don't you? We'll leave you to.
Perfect. So what we've got with this document, and just while I'm in Word, just to show you a few features, I can spot check certain things. And so if I highlight something here, just simple highlight, you can see my Copilot button has reappeared. I can auto rewrite if I just want it to rewrite that entire section. I can write a new prompt and say, make it longer, make it more formal, make it more technical, to kind of tweak that statement. Or there's the visualize as a table. Let me see if there's any that, we'll maybe do this AI business challenges as a table and see how this comes out. So I've got that in place. Highlight that. And again, if you've ever tried to format anything in Word, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That was kind of the nightmare in school, was trying to upload an image into a Word document. But here you can see it does a great job, and it's put this into a nice little table, and that looks pretty good actually. So enhancing the actual quality of the work, and not just saving time with the AI, but the quality of my presentations and documents can be improved by using this. And then up here on the right side is that Copilot button. So it's the same place in Excel and Outlook and PowerPoint, and Outlook and Teams. It might be nestled differently, but PowerPoint, Word, and Excel, it's all going to be in the same one. And here, of course, this works very much with existing documents. So if somebody sends you a couple hundred pages, spoke to a couple of different businesses that do get tons and tons of documentation or big long client reports, and they only need something specific. Here we can come in and get a really good summary of everything that was done. Okay, that's interesting, let me know more about the future challenges. And just like Leon had those little shortcut links inside of his video to take him to his meetings, I've got the little shortcut links in here to take me right to that. And again, as a user, that's much better than Control F and typing in a couple letters to try to find something specific. Much better user experience there on the right side. But just to kind of keep you in line with what I'm doing, I've got this saved to my OneDrive, and up here I've got my share button. So all I'm going to do is copy the link and put the link to this document that I've just generated into my clipboard, just to kind of keep where we're at. So we've got kind of a basic presentation on 365 Copilot here. That's copied successfully, so I can go ahead and close out that document. And now, without further ado, we can officially hop over to PowerPoint. And I think this is a great example of ensuring that you don't treat AI like an island. You treat it kind of like a layer over your existing Microsoft tools that you already have access to. And there's a lot of banners and ribbons and things that some of you probably don't even ever click on. Some of these up here at the top, myself included, I hardly click on some of these, but enhancing the power of those with Copilot is what I'm about to show you here. So what I've got is my Copilot button again, a couple of kind of basic starter prompts for what I can do. So I can generate one from scratch or maybe interrogate for specifics there, but I'm going to create presentation from file, and then I'm just going to paste from my clipboard that file that I just put in my clipboard. So I've got that in place. I've pasted it. That's what a OneDrive link looks like. You can see there's my SharePoint and then personal and then my username. So it's got, kind of a long string. So that is easy enough to put in the clipboard. But yeah, let's just go ahead and make a presentation. So this is fantastic. If any of you have kind of a team that you meet with on a weekly or a monthly basis, and you have your sync or your check-in, this makes that task of having good relevant content that people are going to look at much easier to produce. It's told me what it's doing while it's doing it. So intro, main body, conclusion, adding speaker notes. And in just a couple of seconds, you can see it's now curated 13 different slides. It's got an agenda that looks pretty good. It's got maybe an introduction, and then it kind of goes in there. It's even added a couple of just basic default stock images. And that's a good start. That's a good base. But then to kind of really turn on, don't just stop here with it and then go kind of back to the drawing board or ask the AI to do something out at frontier. Use the tools that you already have provided here at the top. One of those is going to be the design feature. And so this is a tip that I've been giving a lot of businesses. If you come down to this down arrow here, in that little line, you can see these themes are in place. If you're currently in charge of the branding or marketing for your company, definitely try this exercise out. You can open up your template and your branding with your hex codes and all of the great colors and things that you use for your business. Save that template as a theme, and then you can browse for it to look it up so that it'll show up among one of these themes. What I'm able to do then is one click on these themes. It's now flavored the entire presentation with kind of this color default and scheme. Okay, so that's looking a lot better, but now, my agenda, that looks a little off. And as you can see on the right side, I've got designer will automatically open up after I apply that theme. So now I can come into here and just one click, I can put together a very good looking presentation, very, very shortly. Come in here and, okay, maybe that looks a little bit better, or, this side is kind of bland. And so maybe I'd like to, spice this up. And you can see, I guess, it would be considered AI or intelligence. It's not specifically Copilot, but it is very good about finding, the correct icons. It's read that talking about data format, and it's found the data icon. Or if we go to maybe another one here, if we have cost and ROI, let's see if there's any icons. Maybe in that one, yeah, look at that, for data privacy protection, finds the padlock. So it is getting, consistently better and better. And I guess, yeah, a great quote that I would say at this moment is right now at, 12:13 p.m. local time here on the 30th of January, the AI is as bad as it will ever be. And I'll say that again, the AI is as bad as it will ever be. 10 minutes from now, it'll be better. 10 days from now, it'll be better. 10 months, it'll be better. 10 years, we want to be able to recognize what we're working with. And so, really kind of keep with that and that growth of, kind of growth of change there, but in a really great way there. Hopefully you guys can see that, this can make, especially internal presentations, a lot better looking and kind of put that little bit of a wow factor into design. And you can see I can do that with clicks, and I don't have to go specifically, into individual slides like I maybe had to in the past. Perfect. And if we could pop back to the slideshow, I think I have just, maybe two more things there to showcase, and then we can kind of wrap up and kind of get everybody back to going with their day there. So we've got, PowerPoint that we talked about. Teams is another one. So we saw a little bit of look on the email. Teams is another big communication. And so any of the actions that we talk about or show, they can likely be applied across all the kind of scales of chats and teams. And what I mean by that are one-on-one conversations, group conversations, the actual teams themselves or the various channels, as well as meetings and in meeting recap for follow-up. And so we can see here an example that, again, I've missed this meeting, or hey, I was just at the dentist this morning and I don't want to go back and watch a 2-hour recording. Recap this meeting and include the 5 most important topics, include the list of action items or tasks assigned, and about the very bottom ones as well. If I'm coming in, list any action items assigned to myself or my 2 colleagues, because I know that I'll be working with them on specific things. And so coming in and asking these, I really think I can't express how great of a note taker it is. It's something that internally we used to use a third-party non-Microsoft note taker. We've now switched over to Copilot just because it does a very effective job. I'm a human being, and I have the same trust issues you guys do as well, as bringing on a non-human note taker. It takes a couple of meetings, a couple of weeks to get comfortable with it, but I promise you, if you do have a Copilot license, just start recording the meetings that you do attend, and compare those with the notes you take. And the benefit of a non-human note taker is that there's no bias included. What was said on the meeting is what gets recorded, and so you can have the exact transcript and the words. But the summary that's going to come out is going to be professional and very legible. And so it's going to go ahead and kind of audit anything that would be inappropriate or not safe for work. And kind of the only little story that I'll say here, as I have a bit of a grin, is that it currently doesn't understand sarcasm. So many of you, like myself, if you hop onto a meeting a few minutes early and you have one of your colleagues there and maybe there's a bit of banter back and forth and Copilot's on, just know that Copilot might interpret that very literally, and maybe not understand the context of sarcasm, is how I can tell that story. But great. I think I have just one more slide here, and then I'll showcase some things from Teams. But end of the day admin. So kind of wrapping things up here, I think is important. And what we can do is to summarize the day that I've had, and prepare me for tomorrow. And so there's a number of prompts that we work with. I've got kind of a larger super prompt that I work with internally that can really output some fantastic things. And and just the catch me up on the conversation. That does happen where maybe you're back-to-back meetings and you got that first one and it runs 10 or 15 minutes late. You have to scramble to jump into a meeting, you catch somebody mid-sentence, and then you have to either be caught up by them or just try to sit there with a blank face until you can catch up on what they're talking about. Nope, you can ask Copilot, hey, what's been said so far? And within 30 seconds, you're caught up, you're ready to action and dive right into that meeting. And so, a lot of really good aspects there as far as the teams and the meetings, and especially anybody out there that has that kind of wall of a calendar and schedule and meetings is certainly going to benefit from Copilot in that alone. Not including any of the applications and the other things that we talk about. But with that, I can showcase just a little bit of that. So, Leon, if we could switch back to the screen share. And again, apologies, it's a bit limited here as I've got just kind of my own internal environment, but I have curated a basic demo here of this project Pangea. Tried to find a topic here that wasn't as relevant, just because Copilot will find. Or Leon, go ahead.
That's what I had, because we were talking about this, weren't we, off air, in terms of demoing it. So it is difficult to demo it. What I would say is, and Dean and Scott would be testament, is I don't live in email. I go in it as little as possible, and it just really helps me get up to speed on my emails, my chats. Because it is a bit of a challenge. You've got a Teams app, you've got an Outlook app, you've got all these different groups. I think in my workflow, what's really changed is a prompt like you're going to show here. But the challenge is you're not able to show the true power of it because we can't show all of the data, can we? So I just want to stress, it is unbelievable. I'll leave you to jump back on that.
And thank you for iterating that. I promise you, if we could show you this stuff, we absolutely would, because it really is game changing to go into an inbox and maybe hit it with maybe 3 prompts just to talk on that. You say, summarize my inbox, sort my priority emails to the top, and prepare draft responses. And again, you may not send that draft response, but the kind of mental unburdening that you have when you can go from 100 emails down to 10 emails that are important, And then even, 5 of those have kind of staged up responses. That again makes coming back to that very busy inbox a much more manageable experience. But we've all been added to a chat like this. We've all seen something that just either over time it organically happens, or you just get escalated, and all of a sudden you get thrown into a chat that looks like this with a lot of communication. You're like, okay, well, maybe I can find the document by going over to the shared, and this all of a sudden is a very long scroll list as well. So I got a couple of my colleagues just to contribute to this for my demo. But here again is that Copilot, and I'm just using the dark version of Teams there. So this does work on both versions. But here that'll pop open, and I can ask it questions about what's going on in here. And so I think this might be loading up my previous conversations I've had with it. But let's see. Summarize the past 90 days of messages and see if it can go back there as we took a bit of a break for the winter holiday. So we can see there it's identified me and what information I've shared. It's identified a colleague and talking about some of the information that he shared. Anybody that has requested things, you can see there I'm requesting documents or conversations to it. And again, this really changes the way that I go about looking at meetings, where I don't have to read top to tail or kind of scroll to find the specific spot. It does typically load a little bit quicker than that. I apologize. It might just be my internet connection here for real world speed. But again, there's the shortcuts as well. So instead of kind of the infinite scroll, I can talk about what I shared with a kind of a paleo botanist, and it kind of jumps me right to the conversation, highlights exactly where that is, and allows me to go in to do that. And let's see if we have any action items. We'll see. Okay, yeah, it looks like I have an open action item for the team there to add more documents to it. Or Eric would like to find a 15-minute meeting there to talk about things. And so we can, see that, this is the experience you would get when you recap a single meeting, but you can also get this in your day-to-day conversations, and especially those very noisy Teams channels. All it takes is for you to hop on one phone call for a half an hour, and you can come back to Teams and you don't even recognize it because that chat has just been going and going while you've been there. And so very, very useful to keep things on. And I feel very caught up, and I can complete the end of my day or the beginning of my day with good confidence that nothing's been missed, no action items have been left on the table. And that helps me separate work and life as well, and achieve a good balance, I think, on that end. If you're not sure what to ask, Copilot is doing its best to hold our hand through this conversation. Again, I talked to you about the GCSE framework, but you'll see little things like view prompts. When there's new content there, it might ask me and suggest, would you like to know more about this? And so a couple of things there. And then I don't believe I have a slide, but just with the last bit of my demo, I would like to show you the web-based version of Copilot, just because we did talk a little bit about that, and I kind of wanted to put some context as to what we're looking at here, and kind of maybe the different flavors of what's on this. And so let me just get this on my screen. If you log into m365.cloud.microsoft, and you do currently have an Office 365 license, you are actually granted access now to something known as Copilot Chat. You can think of this as essentially as a free version of Copilot. However, there are going to be certain limitations, in that I will only have the availability to search for the web and generate web content. So this is a great way to come in and get users a little bit familiar if they're not experimenting with AI. I would highly advise getting on the Copilot Chat through the web version here. Very importantly as well is maybe even a potential today action or this week action is, again, you guys are business leaders and decision makers here on the call. Are people at your organization using shadow IT and shadow AI in this moment? Are you doing it? And what I mean by that is, are you using GPT or Gemini or Claude, and are you uploading company documents or personally identifiable information? This is something that, Leon, Dean, and I have daily conversations about. It's really there. These things exist in every organization, myself included. When GPT came out, I experimented a little bit. But what we have to watch out for is the ability that, maybe an untrained user wants to summarize a document. So they add a file down here at the bottom, but that file contains intellectual property or kind of critical support. When we do that on GPT and a number of the other engines, they're known as open AI and open source, meaning that we train them. They get a lot better. Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Scott, for posting the link there. I used to go to copilot.microsoft and then they've redirected it on me there. But yeah, one huge difference between ChatGPT and Microsoft is that your data is not used to train the AI, and any version of Copilot you use includes enterprise data protection. And so I did want to showcase exactly where this is located if you'd like to read further, and I'll drop the link in the chat. But up here, I've got a green shield, and you can see there enterprise data protection. I've been linked right to a Microsoft website. I'll go ahead and drop this into the chat as well if anybody would like to take a look at that. But it's really important, and again, maybe you have to go to leadership as well to have a further discussion about AI and company policy. Absolutely take these into consideration when looking at any AI solution. And so we can see here that Microsoft is going to ensure that encryption at rest and transit for what we're sending, data isolation between tenants. There's the privacy, and as well as multiple links to GDPR, ISO 27000 considerations. Content policies already exist, and I'll kind of wrap up talking about some of those as well. But if you do employ things like sensitivity labels or retention policies, those will be inherited into Copilot as well as any documents that you share. And the last two are good comfort for as a user. I'm a user and I'm an employee of this company, but I value my privacy and I want to know what's going on with my data. First of all is the copyright risk, and so making sure that any image generation that we do in that image generation of Copilot, again, very similar to how GPT does it with that DALL-E engine. And then what we can see at the very bottom, I think is probably the biggest point that I'll maybe kind of make here and take a breath, is your data is not used to train the foundation models. And so this is absolutely one of the best things that I think Microsoft could have done, is give us all of this access to it, without the full license. So there is that full license, and to take advantage of the Copilot buttons that I had shown you today inside of Word and Outlook and Excel and Teams, and to kind of get that back-end connection of all of that systems in your data. That does require an additional license. But if right now today you're unsure of the landscape of AI, implementing a basic AI policy is a practical step that you can take in the next week or the next month, and at least get that written down on paper and communicated to your employees that, hey, if you must use an AI, please consider using Microsoft Copilot Chat, just because it's going to have that level of data protection in which it's not guaranteed with things like GPT and Gemini and Claude. So potentially, again, just to kind of have food for thought and consideration with that. Perfect. And I think, that'll probably be enough here, as I don't want to go too long into that. I could just talk to the final slide there, just to talk about some of the maybe wider landscape of Microsoft technologies. And you're actually muted here, Leon.
Sorry, Tom. So yeah, just a couple of bits just to pick up on. Incredible, Tom. A couple of bits you just mentioned there. I've just shared in the chat. We've got a done for you AI policy template. So again, like Tom mentioned, hop over there onto our site. You can download that done for you policy template straight away. That's a great area to start. That's what we recommend. And again, I think it's been incredible, the showcase that you've shown as well, because I think this technology is only going to get better, isn't it? And where was you going to go next then, Tom? As we're starting to wrap up, you want to go back to the slides? Did you say?
Yeah, if we could just go back to the slides. I just wanted to touch on a couple of the Microsoft offerings that they have out there, and kind of talk about what some of that looks like in relation to Microsoft, just because I think folks will be familiar with some of these terms that we're looking at. And so, this is the Office 365. This is your basic Office applications is what we're looking at. And I don't want to go on kind of a big tangent about the licensing model for this, but Copilot really is going to be more effective. The more security you have in place is the bottom line that I can convey with that. There is, Business Basic is very lightweight, saying you've only got access to kind of the web browser. You can't even download the desktop applications. Business Standard does give you those desktop applications, which is great, but you are missing a lot of that identity and access management. mobile device management, and information protection. And so that's what that bottom one there is, Business Premium, or 365 Business Premium there. And you can see there's a couple of extra icons. I know they're a little small in there, but what that does include is mobile device management, so that, everybody's got a cell phone right now, either in their pocket or on their desk. Can you access work data through your personal device? Can your employees do that? What does your policy look like for that? If the answer is yes, then okay, how can we ensure that their device is not jailbroken and it is up to date and they have a password on their phone? If those three conditions are met, then we can grant access. So that's something called the conditional access policy, which I think is one of the most brilliant technologies invented by Microsoft. Yeah, Leon, you had to suffer through a whole tangent, and I went through that the other day with you. But yeah, these conditional accesses, if it's up to date and it's got a password, then grant access. Or if the user is in the country and they've got a password, then grant access. But if they're traveling abroad, we're going to limit that because I really need to protect my data. And then,
I think that is one of the best features in it. And businesses who are tuned into this know that we was one of the regions first to really push cyber risk assessments, and it's been a real big challenge because some we're challenging you on and on Microsoft is we have got this big digital debt. We was talking on stage with the universities and the colleges, for the students, the price of licensing for all this, and we're going to do a separate webinar on this because we're trying to push from our side. We believe businesses need to be on Business Premium to have this rich functionality, and we're advising that's where we think senior leadership teams should be starting. And and we're going to be talking more about a bit of a blended model in licensing because you might have some frontline workers who might not need all of the services, because it is a very complex area, isn't it, what we're going into. But we are going to pick this up on the sort of next webinar. And where I'd just like to go now, Tom, is just because we've got a couple of questions and comments in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ones I want to pick up before I forget is, just 1 second. So Courtney, for example, mentioned, someone will be becoming a manager soon and dealing with a lot of old-fashioned spreadsheets and data. That usually takes a lot of time. It really excites, how we can learn more. We've had other ones in terms of training. So I want to sort of just wrap up in terms of, so everyone understands, where there is training available. If they head over to our website, we've got training available on the platform across all of Microsoft tools. We've got one for for podcasting, and there's a whole array of data. These webinars will be on there. But what I want to just make sure everyone's got access to, if I just pause that there 1 second. So you have access to the replay on this webinar, and then there'll also be like a download. And to access that sort of download, you just sign up here, scan the QR code. You can pre-register for this. And we're going to make available all of the slides that we've put together, Tom, on this wait list. So you've got all the prompts for everybody. Also, that QR code will allow you to scan in and pre-register to take one of these assessments and look at, are you staying ahead of the curve of AI? And Tom, is there any sort of final messages you want to sort of wrap up on and finish on between us, and Dean, out from yourself?
No, I think it was great. I mean, for me, it was to sort of showcase the features of Copilot Business Premium. So we've got a great understanding, not only for me, but for the clients as well. So we're going to get clients coming and approaching us more and more. So we need to be confident in what we're talking about. And I think what we've demonstrated is sort of game changing for everybody, really, if they can get onto this platform. So we just need to make sure, like Leon said, we manage it in the right way. We're getting the correct licenses and we're making sure it's secure as well. But yeah, that was great, Tom. Thank you for your time on that. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and thank you guys. And if I can leave just a final thought again, it's to reiterate some of the themes at the beginning that we spoke about. This is a new technology. This is new to me. This is new to you. This is new to the whole world, Microsoft included, Google included. Everybody's going through this process of change and iteration. You guys are a part of that. What I would say is that community is going to be critical in the future. All of us as individuals have different roles, and even if I have a colleague that we both have to get from point A to point B in identical job descriptions, we still go about our day differently. I hop into Teams first, he does Outlook first, and so we go about that differently. Our AI experience is going to be different, but I think if we collaborate, you talked about sharing the prompts and things like that, We see prompt-a-thons starting to pop up, and we've actually hosted 1 or 2 in London for a couple of our partners. And that collaboration, I think, is going to be key. And yeah, to kind of leave you with an American saying there, a rising tide floats all boats. And so again, we're only going to get better and better with this. But yeah, thank you, Leon, Dean, and everybody as well online watching. I appreciate everybody's time today.
No, exactly that. And I think other ways we've got people, because we're going across all platforms, it's a new method for us. People watch on LinkedIn, you might not have access to some of these comments that are coming through, but if you just drop me a message, AI Playbook, I'll share all of the prompts. You can message Dean, AI Playbook, Tom, AI Playbook, and we'll be scanning our messages and we'll send you over the playbook. So we've got a ton of done for you prompts. And again, it links back into, I'm super excited, Tom, as we start migrating all of our custom GPTs into Copilot Studio. And there's just some amazing functionality. We've got another webinar coming up in February, aren't we? In terms of, we're having a little bit of a play on, it's the month of love is February, isn't it? We're going to fall in love with Copilot and prompting. We're going to have a bit of fun again, aren't we, Tom, on that one? But that's it from me. Anything you want to add?
No, it was great. I just want to thank everybody for the time, especially you, Tom, for the presentation. It was great insight.
Thanks, Tom.
Wonderful. Yep, of course. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Oh.